First story. My wife is upset by my finally flourishing, envy. The author of the post is listed in the description. My 28M wife, Ashley, 30F, have been together for 4 years, married 3 and open for 2. We both found someone very early. Ashley was dating a married man in a stable poly relationship, and I got quite close to a grad student at a nearby college. Ashley and I were both high on NRE, but managed to share that with each other, and it was so intense and special. After 9 great months, my grad student got a job offer several hours away. Being slightly introverted, I kind of withdrew into my shell and threw myself into the gym to take my mind off things. Less than 2 months after that, Ashley's Meta got pregnant, and her relationship started to wind down. I had hoped we could take some time and maybe travel or just spend some romantic time together after both of our breakups, but Ashley's plan was to chase that next NRE rush with someone new. But she wasn't matching with anyone that she could really connect with. She started seeing more people more often. Then she scheduled a date with a new guy on Saturday night, which had always been our date night. We argued, and she ended up not going out with either of us that night. She insisted we change our date night to Thursday, because Friday and Saturday were better for her other partners, especially if they wanted to do an overnight. All this caused me to spiral a bit, and I was practically living at the gym, with no real enthusiasm for dating for a few months. The upside was, I lost 35 pounds and really pumped my arms and upper body up. One of my friends, Keith, from the gym talked me into working at one of his clubs on Friday and Saturday as a barback since they were crazy busy. It's a mixed crowd, LGBTQ+, with a big dance floor and a drag show. By the 3rd week I was bartending and the MC had made teasing me and grabbing my ass part of her act. I started getting hit on, which boosted my confidence and went from introverted to the other end of the scale. After about 3 months, I noticed Ashley making snide remarks about my working and staying out all night, as I think she was a bit annoyed or jealous I was having such a good time. She was still getting dealt shitty cards from a stacked deck, as she put it. Rarely getting more than 3. 4 dates from any one guy before ending it or getting ghosted. Meanwhile, I'm going to after parties or hooking up and not getting home much before the sun comes up. Then came the big storm. 1. I knew I was going to hook up with a regular at the bar and not be home, so I texted Ashley that I was having an overnight and would be home till the next morning. I get a lengthy text about how I ruined the mood on her date and ruined things, and the next day had a big argument. 2. Ashley had told me she was doing an overnight on Friday, so after work, I invited a few people to the house. Ashley had a fight with her BF and came home early to find me in the hot tub with 3 naked women. 2 were lesbians, but the picture didn't reflect that. 3. Ashley and her date decided they wanted to see the drag show on Saturday. It was a packed house. We had 3 bachelorette parties in the house that were in rare form. I was helping the barback clear empties from the tables, and the MC and one of the other divas were giving me the business, which only egged the bachelorette groups to get handsy as well. As busy as it was, I never saw Ashley, but Kevin did and saw her leave in a huff with a bewildered date in tow. The day after she came to the club, Ashley said we needed to close the relationship and work through some issues. We talked about a few of them, mostly me not being available on the weekends and not prioritizing our relationship. I had to remind her that she was the one who prompted us to move our date night from Saturday to Thursday to accommodate her boyfriend's schedules. She brought up how hurt she was when she had a fight with one of her dates and came home early to find me in a hot tub full of women when she needed me to be there for her. I told her for once I was getting to enjoy the same freedom she had, and if she was having issues, then maybe she should take a step back and close her side while she got some individual counseling to learn how to deal with her issues. I haven't missed a Thursday date night with her, although she can spend a third of it on her phone with other guys, and that's supposed to be okay. And I brought up how she literally sends 30 texts to my one. Last night she brought it up again, and I said if she wanted to close, we could close, but it would be permanent. No dating or online flirting. She would have to delete all her dating apps and Snapchat, all her phone numbers of past hookups, everything. I made it clear if we went down this path, the next time she wanted to so much as have dinner with another man alone, it would be as a single poly woman. Obviously, she didn't like my idea and said it was unfair, and personally, right now, that isn't something I want either, but I'm not going to just let her pour cold water over my side to appease whatever is going through her head right now. Relevant comments. Asterisk. Commenter. Yikes. It sounds like neither of you has tended to your relationship with each other in quite some time. Initially her, and now both of you. You both seem to be prioritizing random hookups before each other when your priorities should be the other way around. Each other first, your date second. Oop. Respectfully, she was the one to move our date night to a weeknight and then spend Friday and Saturday chasing new partners, often spending overnights leaving me home most of the weekend. I still made an effort to plan date nights as best I could, which was hard, considering we both have to get up early Friday to go to work. We were still intimate a couple of times a week, but I took the club job partially to fill the time I was left at home alone, and when I started having fun doing it, she wanted to shut it down. Commenter. She started it, isn't the justification you think it is. Oop. So are you saying I should have just sucked it up and wallowed at home alone while she dated all weekend? We had a pretty balanced routine that was fulfilling before she started her speed dating antics, or was that somehow my fault too? And I was pretty vocal at the time I was unhappy with things, but that all got pushed aside. Update. So a couple of weeks ago, my wife Ashley asked to close our relationship and work on some issues, which I refused since I was just starting to really enjoy it after being left behind, as it were. You can read my previous post for context if needed. Another thing she wanted was for me to stop working part-time tending bar at an LGBTQ+ club after she and a date of hers came in and she saw the attention I was getting there. Last Thursday was our scheduled date night where she again asked me to pause, reconnect, and work through some issues. Friday and Saturday nights had lately been the nights I worked at the club while she went out with her other partners and was often gone overnight, leaving me alone for most of the weekend. This last weekend, she spent both Friday and Saturday nights sitting alone at the end of the bar where I worked. I had a date already planned for Friday after work, but on Saturday we left together and had breakfast before going home. All this week, her phone has been silent, and I have only seen her texting a couple of times. All 3 times we have been intimate this week, she has been the one to initiate it, which is the total opposite of the last 9 months. We had a long talk, and she wants to make Saturday our official date night again, in addition to keeping Thursday night as well. She said she had pulled all her dating profiles down and deleted Snapchat, basically closing her side of the relationship down. Her only ask has been for me to not work Saturdays so we could spend the entire day together. I told her I could do that, but I needed to give Kevin time to find a replacement for me at the club. We are spending this afternoon with her family and lunch tomorrow with mine for Thanksgiving. Ashley has a new individual therapist she will start seeing next week and wants an extra session with our couples counselor for the next couple of months. She hopes, but hasn't pressed, that I will close my side as well, but I haven't made up my mind yet. I guess I will wait and see for now. Commenter. Ashley is simply used to getting what she wants when she wants, even if it takes pressing OP by showing up to his part-time job. Strategic, since this job is what got him back in the game and having fun. When she sufficiently blocks OP from what's working for him, the game will change again. Clear manipulation tactics, OP. Won't be long before she wants you to quit that job. Outright. That will mark the completion of her plan. She will wait a bit and magically be ready to get back out there. From reading OP's well-thought-out posts, it's pretty clear he understands what I laid out above. While E&M isn't easy and certainly is a give and take by all parties involved, once certain patterns become apparent, the side constantly laying down needs to stand back up. Can't imagine how he felt those 9 months, let alone how little she cared. Whoop! Even if it takes pressing OP by showing up to his part-time job. Ashley's reasoning for spending time at the club was to 1. Spend more time with me, and 2. Shows she wasn't spending time out with her other partners, and 3. And be there when I get off work. Won't be long before she wants you to quit that job outright. That will mark the completion of her plan. She will wait a bit and magically be ready to get back out there. Originally, she did want me to quit, but has backed off a bit for now. Part of the reason I resisted closing revolved around the fact when my resources dried up, she could flip and want to be open again, and I would have a harder time reopening than she would. Update 2. My wife Ashley, frustrated with her dating pool and envious of my overdue success, wanted to temporarily close to work on our relationship, which had suffered, largely due to her neglect. I refused to close unless it was permanent, but said I would meet her halfway. I agreed to quit working Saturday nights at a bar and make Saturday night our date night once again. She was the one who moved our date night to Thursday because Friday and Saturday worked best when she was dating. She did shut her side down and deleted all her apps and profiles, so we started going to couples therapy every other week, and in the weeks in between she was seeing her personal therapist. I was able to get her to understand and take the blame for how I suffered, and we worked through a lot of our issues. Our therapist had us work on what we each wanted going forward and devise a plan to manage our expectations. Some of the rules were made to manage NRE and respect each other. These were not boundaries that could be pushed, but rules that had serious consequences, either close permanently or separate pending divorce proceedings. Thursday and Saturday were our date nights. No phone calls or texts with other partners. On nights we were home together, there would be no texts after 7 p.m. Each of us was allowed 2 dates per week with other partners. No phones are allowed in the bedroom. No hosting partners at our house. All partners will be informed of these rules and be expected to honor them. We spent about 6 weeks rebuilding our relationship and trust. I had one person I was seeing, but she was still closed for the most part. A month ago, in one of our sessions, she asked if I was comfortable with her seeing people again, and I said I was okay as long as she followed what we had talked about. She started talking to Fred, and they went out a couple of times and had sex on the second date. No overnights yet, and they have both been good about texting per our agreements. Last week, Ashley said a friend of hers was going to be in town on Saturday, and she wanted to have dinner with him. I asked if that was how she wanted to spend date night, and she said just this once. She said he was just a friend and was only in town for the day, so I said sure, why not? Fast forward to Saturday, she is getting ready, getting dressed up really nice for just a friend. She came out of the bedroom, and I got up and grabbed my jacket and keys and asked if she was ready to go. She asked what I was doing, and I said, "We're going to have dinner with your friend tonight, right?" She said that wasn't exactly the plan. I apologized and said that's what I thought she meant about having dinner with him on our date night, and suggested she text him and tell him it would be 3 for dinner. After more discussion, she did send him a text that she would be unable to make it for dinner. We ended up getting a pizza delivered and talking most of the night. Sunday morning we slept in, and she woke up like nothing had happened and rolled over on top of me. This week the subject hasn't come up, and she has been pretty loving. Monday we have couples therapy where I'm sure one of us is going to bring it up. Hopefully it's just a small bump in the road, as we have been better together than we have been in a long time. This Saturday we are celebrating my promotion, and I'm surprising her with a trip overseas. Relevant comments. Commenter: I find it odd that you would try to join a dinner that you were not invited to. Reading that felt like you were intentionally looking to provoke her or ruin her evening. I can appreciate being upset if you two had plans she was breaking to be with the friend. As written, it didn't look like you two had plans that night other than it was a date night. In my household, there is a standing date night, but one of us still has to ask the other out, make plans, etc. This didn't read that way to me, like you two didn't have a specific date already happening. I could be wrong. Maybe you left that part out about actually having plans with her that evening. Oop. I asked if that was how she wanted to spend date night, and she said just this once. She said he was just a friend and was only in town for the day, so I said sure, why not? We have gone on double dates on date night before, and I asked it this way on purpose. If he was just a friend, why wouldn't I want to meet him? And why would she be upset? Either way, I'm not going to let her slip into old habits of breaking our agreements again. I gave her the option to go if she really wanted to, but she knew that would mean breaking our agreement, and she called it off. Commenter: Ha! Seems to me, based on her canceling the day after finding out you were going to that, she obviously intended this date night with a friend to be way more than that. I suspect you think that too. Otherwise, why cancel it? If my hunch is right, then that brings up trust issues, doesn't it? I think you definitely need to explore this friendly date night further at you next counseling session together. Good luck. Commenter: The only thing I would suggest here is more direct communication. I don't think you're wrong, and I don't think you're 100% in the clear. You're doing a great job being firm in your rules. I'm just suggesting you say it up front. And she's far from off the hook because she should have directly told you she intended to meet him solo. She tried to skirt around agreements, and you put your foot down. Oop. I didn't come straight out and tell her no, not on our date night, because I knew she would sulk and try to wear me down like she used to do. And as she got closer to leaving, it was clear my hunch about what she had planned was correct. If I had let her go, she would know that I would cave whenever she wanted to bend a rule. The last few months, we have had zero issues, and it has been nice. I have been thinking about quitting the bar gig altogether. It was never about the money and more of a social outlet. So when I saw her old patterns starting to reemerge, I wanted to slam the door on it once and for all. Was it a blindside? Yes, but it gave her zero time to manipulate me. We had all week to talk about it, and she finally came clean. He was not an old friend, just someone she'd been talking to online for a couple of weeks. Commenter: we had all week to talk about it, and she finally came clean. He was not an old friend, just someone she had been talking to online for a couple of weeks. So what are you going to do? She's obviously not only trying to bend your agreements in her favor, but she has no qualms about blatantly lying to you. Do you still think this is going to work? OOP. It's frustrating for sure, and we will address it in therapy next week. Things have been so much better lately, and were looking so promising before this episode. I feel like she is trying to change, but it's not like a light switch she can use to change all her behavior all at once. I would like to get past this, but I admit my patience has been stretched to the breaking point. She is also aware that I talked with an attorney last November when things got really bad, and that she was weeks, if not days, from being served. She found out when my check for his retainer cleared the bank, and she Googled him and found out his specialty. Second story. His mistress made him a better husband. I feel nauseous. Everything changed about 3 years ago, and my husband became my dream man. Before that, we suffered a lot in our marriage. After 2 hard pregnancies and PPD, my libido was diminished, and we fought all the time. After 4 years of dead bedroom, we started therapy. I thought that was where the improvement came from. My husband started paying attention to me. In the beginning, I was panicking because whenever he paid me attention before he expected sex, but now it felt like he was seeing me as a human being for the first time. He was attentive and caring, emphatic. He touched and cuddled and kissed me out of the blue, without wanting sex in return. He started helping around the house, bringing me flowers, take-out dinners when I work late, planning date nights. Anniversaries, birthdays, and holidays are planned perfectly, and I started getting the most beautiful and thoughtful gifts. When we fought, he would come the next day and admitted his wrongs, and very accurately, if he was the one in the wrong, something he never did before. He would apologize too, when back in the days him apologizing would be a blow to his ego. He said he was happy all the time and lucky to have us as his family. Everything was better, and I even got my libido back, if not as high as I hoped. I found their conversation about 5 days ago, and I have probably spent over 50 hours reading them. 3 years worth of conversation. He would tell her his woes, and she would listen. 99 out of 100 times she sided with me. She taught him about intimacy and how important it is in marriages. The tragically funny part is that he never got angry or offended by her telling him off, calling him silly, stubborn, or at times man-baby. Her honesty was brutal, and yet he agreed with her. She was the one suggesting all the changes, and he would ask her for advice about gifts, traveling, and all the beautiful things he did for our family. He thanks her all the time for helping him turn his miserable home life around, making it tolerable. With all these texts, there were the texts between them that are about them like nobody else existed around them. The flirting, sex talk, and pictures, the longing to see each other. He says she is the love of his life every day, and that he wishes their circumstances were different. She says the same. They both agree that divorce would ruin their families and that they couldn't be that selfish. How admirable! I feel nauseous. My happiness for the past 3 years was fake. I don't know what to do. I want to hurt them. I want to expose them, and I want to ruin whatever they think is perfect happiness. Hi. I'm getting chat requests about my comments not being visible. Is this normal? I'm trying to answer you guys. Sorry. Hi again. Since I can't comment and I can't answer all the chats, I will answer here. I am 35. My husband is 39. We have 2 children, 9 and 7. She is 40 and she has 1 child, 14. She is in a dead bedroom with her husband too, and for 14 years. The affair is physical too, yes, but they meet maybe once every month or every other month. She tells my husband that what they feel is probably limerence, but that they don't know it yet because they meet so little. She lives in another city. Relevant comments. So basically, your cheating ex is trying to blame you for him cheating. The delusion of cheaters. You only informed the mistress's husband that she couldn't keep her legs closed to a cold breeze. He had a right to know. Onwards and upwards. Update me. Oop. He didn't blame me for anything. He doesn't care that he cheated. He was only angry that her husband hurt her and her child. Maybe my post was this convoluted that everyone here is thinking he is trying to put the blame in me? He doesn't care at all. He just thought that I should have confronted him instead, because he was the one who cheated on me. I told everyone around us what he'd done, and he doesn't even care. Update. I was here some weeks ago with my original post. I finally decided that I really should reach out to the husband of my husband's mistress. I found him easily, and I contacted him. He didn't believe me at first, and was rude about it and told me to go F myself. I hesitated to contact him again, to be honest, but after a few days I realized that I would too not believe a stranger just popping in my DMs accusing my SO of cheating, so I recorded my husband's phone with my phone, especially the messages where she sent explicit photos and stuff. I also went to the contact to show the number. He didn't answer me the first day, then he called me the C word and blocked me. I thought, well then, I have done my part, and it's on him if he believed me or not. Then after a week, my husband came home angry and he yelled at me for exposing them. He asked me why I didn't confront him instead. My problem was with him. I have never seen him yell like this. Then he packed a bag and left for about a week. I think he's traveled to her. When he got home, he said that it was over. He said that he has been trying to make me happy for years, and he's done everything a good husband would do, but still, nothing was good enough for me. I've made him miserable for years, and instead of taking it out on him, I chose to hurt a woman and her child. He moved to his parents' house, and now he's renting an apartment. I have heard that he travels the weeks he doesn't have the children to be with her, and that she's moving here soon when she gets full custody of her child. I have not been feeling well at all. He has never spoken to me directly since he left, and I haven't seen him. He adamantly refuses to talk to me, like I never existed in his life. I don't know what I have done to deserve this treatment. I hate that they won. Relevant comments. Commenter. The last 3 years of your marriage were a lie. You know that now. Who he is the person he treated you before his affair partner had to convince him to be good to you. He is not a good person. Do they even really know each other? Like how it is to be around each other on a daily basis? They are genuinely dumb to think the list will stay with 3 kids around, plus handling chores and day-to-day things of life. They have 2 custody battles ahead of them, and divorced on top of it. If he's angry with you the next time you have to see him, ask him why. He got what he wanted. He wanted to be with her, and now he is. So why is he angry that you gave him what you wanted? It's probably shame that he's painted to be a cheater. Not he can't manipulate the narrative and paint you as the bad person. If what they won is each other, let them have each other. They are both awful people, so they deserve each other. Ooh-up! He is not angry about the divorce. He is angry I told the husband instead of him because the husband hurt her and her kid. Commenter. He's not angry, BC, of that. He always assumed that if you found out, he could gaslight you into thinking that it was somehow your fault or not happening, but by you telling the other husband, there was no getting around it. Oop. No, he is angry about me putting his AP in danger. He gives 0 fucks about staying in our marriage or not. He only was with me to help raise the children and probably wait for her to get rid of her husband. I am not trying to be dramatic here, but the sooner I realize the truth, the better is for me to move on, I think. March 22nd, 2024. This morning I got a call from my mother-in-law that my husband has been in jail for the past couple of days and only got out this morning, but the charges weren't dropped. Apparently his mistress and her husband had another altercation last weekend, and she ended up hurt again. Now I want full custody of my children. He is out, but charges are not dropped, so it will probably lead to some punishment. I don't know if family court would count this in case I want full custody and supervised visits. My mother-in-law was hostile when I told her this, and she's one of the people who have supported me, so I am expecting some pushback. I don't care. Relevant comments. Commenter. You probably should not have let your mill in on this idea. Her first reaction is going to be that it will threaten her ability to see the grandkids and her son's ability to be a father. Even if you think she is on your team, have to assume she isn't. Oop. Yeah, it was a big mistake. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.